Okay, everybody, here we're going to talk about the eVic AIO. Now, if you've watched some of my other videos, you're going to notice that this unit seems very, very alike to what is called the eGrip 2 or the eGrip 2 Lite. They are very similar in a lot of ways, so this video might seem very familiar if you happen to see that eGrip 2 Lite. Very quickly, I of course will show you the eVic that we have right here, and then of course this is the eGrip 2 Lite. As you can see, they are very similar, and I'm just going to kind of go over to this unit now here, and some of this might sound redundant if you've watched some of my other videos, but I want to give this the full video that this particular model deserves that you have right here. Now, this is the eVic AIO. It is by Joyetech, AIO or AIO or whatever you might want to call it. One thing that's nice is if you hear anything about the AIO, which of course is the eGrip, the eGrip 2, the eGrip 2 Lite or the eGrip 2, and of course you have the AIO eGo. I know there's a lot of them. What's nice with that is the AIO, all of those coils are interchangeable. So if you have one unit and you're going to another unit, just keep in mind that all of those coils will interchange without those. Now on this particular model here, this is what is called a all-in-one model. So that means, of course, you have your tank on board here. And then of course, now on this model here, I would have said, like the eGrip 2, that this one has a battery built in. It does not, and we're going to get into that in a moment here, but I do want to talk to you as far as what this has. Of course, like I said, it's a nice 3.5 milliliter tank that you have right there, exact same as the eGrip 2 system that does have. You have your top fill designs. You actually unscrew this to put the liquid on in there, so that is a great thing that you have. Of course, you have your airflow control. Now, in this specific model here, you're actually looking at two sets of your airflow. Where on the eGrip 2, you're actually only looking at one set. So you're going to get even more airflow control. Ironically, this guy is spec'd out 5 watts lower than the eGrip 2. The eGrip 2 is at 80 watts. This model right here is at 75 watts. Now, you have a little bit difference as far as your button controls that you have here. It's more of a basic one large button, and then of course you have your onboard screen. Of course, all the things that you want to see there, your battery life, your wattage, all that, and of course the clock that Joyetech likes to put on these models here. This model will run temperature control. Let's see, you also have your regular wattage control, you have your memory control, so lots of different controls that are on this particular menu that you're looking at. Of course, just like the eGrip 2 or this model here, there are firmware updates. You go to Joyetech, you plug it on in, and it will change some of the firmware settings over time. So yeah, some of these units now have become where they're upgradable. Now, your major difference with this unit here versus the eGrip 2 is eGrip 2 has a 2100 mAh battery that's actually in the unit itself. This specific unit has a removable battery, more specifically an 18650 battery, which is pretty much industry standard. How to reveal where that is pretty simple. In the little corner here, you're going to notice a little tab. What it is it's not like a push button tab. This is actually magnetic, how it's done. You just simply lift it on up there, and now you're going to see that there is a battery that is actually hidden right there. That is your 18650 battery. It simply just pops out like so. And what's nice with this is if you're somebody who's a heavier user or you just don't find a lot of time to recharge your device and you want to be on the go with your device all the time, now you can change these batteries out whenever you want. So that is pretty nice. Now, I will warn you on one thing. When you have this in here, it takes a little bit of time for some of these guys to charge. But like I said, you had that 2100 mAh. Now, that's all going to be dictative of the different battery that you actually insert in this. And the next thing is, of course, you can have a separate charger at home. These chargers now come with a 2-bay, a 4-bay, a 6-bay. I think I've seen an 8-bay there. And it's just very simple. You put it on in there, you charge them on up. So you kind of build that. Now, you may also be catching that, wow, those are all these other extra things that I do have to purchase. Yes. Because one of the things there are some people who really move on to this 18650 battery, and then they'll just seek out devices that use these batteries, because once you have the batteries and you actually have the charger, now you can just swap out your models as long as it takes this 18650. I'm going to pause on this video, and I want to talk about something that's very important, and that's this battery that we have here. Now, this unit, just like all the units these days, they have what's called built-in protection. It protects It protects you from a short. It protects you where it'll shut down if there's anything wrong with the unit that you have right here. When you take this battery out, you now have an unprotected battery. Okay. Very recently, a lot of different news or media, whatever you might want to call it here in the States there, we've been seeing, of course, constant different explosions of electronic cigarettes. One was what was called a mechanical mod. They're unregulated cigarettes. And we get into that on the website. Definitely have a checkout as far as that goes. What it means is that those units had no protection built into them. They're not like any of these mainstream units. But now we've had something very recently where there was a video out there, and it was an eye-popping video. It just pretty much went viral with YouTube, of course, Facebook, all the other stuff. And it was showcased as electronic cigarette battery explodes. What they were actually talking about is one of these. And number two, it didn't explode. Lithium ion runs away, as it's called, and it kind of catches fire. Very recently, we have these Samsung phones, the Galaxy phones that are catching on fire. It's the same problem of lithium ion that runs away. So I want you to know that with this battery here, you want to be careful with it. What had happened with that gentleman in the video there is he stuck it in his pocket, and he had change or keys, whatever it is, and those two things caused a short with the battery, and then you had a problem there. So these are extremely powerful batteries, and you want to respect them. So always properly store them when you're carrying them or anything of that nature, and it's going to be extremely safe. But like I said, if you just throw it in change trays in your car, things of that nature, you're really inviting risk to yourself, and we definitely don't want to see that, do we? Don't want to see you on a Facebook video. So that's your 18650 battery. That's one of the major differences with this unit here, that it does pop out there, and that's one of the major differences between, of course, your eGrip 2 or your eVic that you're having right there. This one, the battery's built in. Everything's right there. As you run out of your battery life, now you're going to need to recharge it. This guy here, you can pop them on the fly. So that is really, really nice. Getting into this specific unit, like I said, very, very easy unit to use there. You have your wattage that goes up to the 75 watts. And of course, it takes all different kind of coils. Like I said, I know I've talked about this in a lot of other videos. This might seem redundant, but it is important. This really does the full spectrum of a lot of your different coil settings. With here, you have everything that starts off at the very lowest, 0.25. And on when I mean lowest, that's actually the most powerful, okay? So when that number gets lower and lower, 0.25, think of it like 25 cents, that's your most powerful. Kind of your next step up is going to be 0.5. And then from there, we're going to go to 1.0, and we can go to 1.5. So those are your different coils that are going to be set in there. And like I was talking on some of my other videos, with these guys here, a lot of people like that 0.25. It gives really great warm vapor. It gets a lot of great flavor, but when you run something more powerful, two things are going to happen. You're going to use more of your liquid because it's being more powerful. It's giving you more vapor and liquid. And your secondary thing is you're going to use your battery life a lot quicker. That's where that interchangeable battery comes in really well if you know you really like a powerful, really great vape. Now, like I said, this is a great all-in-one unit, and I do want to make a point that this is not the most powerful unit that is out on the market. It gets ridiculously big these days. I mean, you can get yourself a 200-watt unit that literally will have 3 of these batteries on in there. I mean, it's crazy, all the different things. For my video and for these things here, when I mean this is a great unit, this is what I kind of say, people are just kind of using these as an everyday. You're not a cloud chaser. You're not looking for all this crazy amounts of plumes of vapor. So that kind of talks to you as far as your coil design that you have right there. Now, on this guy here, it's now, well, I'll tell you what, let's go into the box really quick, and then of course we'll go into how to fill this unit, all the other good stuff that you have. Before we do that, I always like to say my pros and cons of everything. As far as the pros goes, as everything as far as the eGrip 2, where you do have the top fill design, which is nice. You have your display, you have your nice fire button there. Of course, you can visually actually see your liquid. It does have the different lighting where it will show you when it's illuminated that you're actually vaping on it. And it will also show that to you if you do plug it in and charge it. Now, like I said, this battery is removable. You can charge this battery and you can use it while it's charging, just like the eVic 2. So you do have that there. Of course, you have your airflow control that I was talking about. You do actually have in the box 2 separate different mouthpieces or drip tips. And finally, the other nice thing with this is too, you can actually remove this top portion, which has that coil head. Well, the coil head's not on this guy right here right now. And this is actually in a box, but I do want to show you. This is an adapter. So let's say you have half of the liquid actually in there. You can drop this guy in there, close it, and now you can put a completely separate, different tank on top of the unit. So it actually changes it from an all-in-one unit to more of a battery device that you have right there. So that is one of the nice things that this specific unit does have on it. Of course, I did mention your airflow control that you have, and we cannot forget about your charge point, which is actually hidden right there. Now, I'm trying to debate, should I say when the box or not? Let's do this very quickly. As you notice, these, you're going to notice they are offered in either stainless steel or black. The stainless steel is actually your housing, okay? Or your black is your housing, because this leather-like material that you have right here is replaceable. Outside of the box, you actually have the white ones that you can do, or you can go with a very dark kind of leather brown that you have, and it's pretty easy to do. You can't just take them off and put them on. It's a one type application that you have. So if you like the black one, you leave the black one off. If you don't like the black one, you tear that on off. It is a double stick tape, and then you're going to put on your other color. So you kind of decide what your color is. It's not that you can swap them back and forth, but they do actually have that in a box so that you can do that. So that is a nice thing that this has, just a little bit for aesthetics as far as that's concerned. Okay, so that was really the pros of this particular unit. What are the cons? Now, for me personally here, this is a hefty unit. It's got some weight to it. Some people prefer that. Some people do not. When I kind of get into something that's a little bit bigger, I want to make sure that I'm balancing that weight ratio that we have right there. The eGrip 2 Light is a magnesium alloy. It's extremely light. Where this one, this is more of your atypical old school heavier unit that you have right there. I don't know if that's truly a con, but I do want to put it out there. Some people might not like that, so it is good to bring that actually up that you have there. Your other con, of course, is you're going to be spending more money to get those 18650 batteries because they are not sold with these units, okay? You always have to buy that separately, and then you want to get a charger too. Again, that's not necessarily a con if you're sticking with those 18650 units, because you can just, have a whole stack of battery and always stick to that specific model that you have. So outside of that, not too many cons that you're really looking at. It's just extremely well-built model that you see, and this is what is called the eVic AIO. Now, what we're going to do is get into actual box itself, and like I said, you got the box. Once you open up the box, you physically have the unit there. When you pull that unit off, you're going to notice a couple of other boxes. You have these two boxes here. This box that you're looking at, that's your micro USB charge point. So they do include that. Micro USB charge point just plugs right in there, any USB source that you want to use, and now you can charge it while you're actually vaping it, because it is a USB PTC. And here's all your goodies, everybody. What's really nice with this, and also like I mentioned with the eVic 2, is they don't just have you with one coil. There's actually quite a few different coils that comes out of the kit. So that's really nice, because then you can actually decide which one you like before you actually make your next purchase for your replacement coil heads. So what comes in there, I already kind of talked about this. This is that adapter that's slid on in there and allows you to put a regular top tank on there if you want. We kind of talked about your different colors for your skins that you have right there. As far as your coils go, you have quite a few different coils here, folks. You have your 0.25 notch coil. You also, of course, have your 0.5 coil. We have the 1.5 coil. And then, of course, finally, you have your rebuildable that is in there. Some people like to rebuild their coils. It does have that as an option. That's a whole nother learning experience, and that's a whole nother thing to kind of do. But it does have that option in there. You might be confused with this. This is, of course, backup cotton that you have there, and that is, of course, for those rebuildables that we're looking at. You do have a very extensive menu. I kind of mentioned this, and I kind of forgot about that. Your cons. The menu is a little bit clumsy, and you're going to actually see that on this specific model too. And what I mean by that is you can do a lot with these units, but you're limited to just a very small amount of buttons that you can actually do. So you have a major difference as far as that goes. So that kind of goes what's actually into the box in this specific unit here. For this unit that we're looking at, as far as filling, it is pretty easy. All you simply do is you just pop out a coil there. as you pop that coil on out, you just simply unscrew this guy right here. And now I'm going to make a very good point. I've said this on quite a few different videos. Very important to prime your coil. If this is your very first Z6 videos that you're looking at, I know this might seem redundant to a lot of other people, but you might have stumbled across this. We have a screen there. And then under there, you have your actual cotton, okay? You want to make sure that that liquid is absorbed to that cotton before you try to fire your unit. If you do not, you're going to get a burnt harsh taste because you're burning that cotton. The unit hasn't had enough time to actually get that liquid and absorb it, and you're going to damage your coil. Hence, you're wasting money. And not only that, you're going to have leaking issues. You're going to have harshness, some burnt taste. It's not going to be an enjoyable experience, so always take the time. As far as priming these guys, it's very, very easy. You just take yourself a bottle of e-liquid, and then simply all you're going to do is you do about 5 drops all the way throughout there, and you'll notice a couple of times, it may even notice that the liquid's gone up a little bit. What I do is I like to take my time with it. I do 1 or 2 drop, and I kind of go around there. And what we're just doing is we're speeding up the process of that absorption. We're putting it right there. Once you've done that, now you simply just put that onto here. And then from there, the next step is we're going to fill the tank. Very easy to do. It's a top fill. So now I'll just take that. I fill that on up. Fill it up about halfway. You'll get a little bit more of a feel of how much liquid to put in there. You don't want to go all the way up. You go all the way up, and you put this in there, it's going to push all that liquid out. So then from there, simply close that on up, and you're good to go. Now on this unit here, like I said, everybody, you have all of your different coils that you can kind of put in there. And on this specific guy right here, that 0.25, that is perfect for this one because you can swap out the batteries, some of the other different stuff that you have. Now, I didn't kind of talk about it in the other videos. I will talk about it here. And that is how this unit, and actually more so this unit, work. And that is called DL or MTL. I know we're throwing another thing into the mix. We talk about this stuff on our website. And if you haven't been to Z6, just pop in by the E6 info section. We talk about a lot of this other stuff. The DL versus MTL. If you've been using electronic cigarettes for a long time, you learned what was called the classic vaping, we like to call, which is MTL. MTL stands for mouth to lung. So some of the older units, they didn't power that much vapor. So what you do is you'd literally start inhaling, and you would let your mouth fill up with the vapor, and then you would inhale. So that is mouth to lung. You let it all into your mouth, and then you inhale until it goes into your lungs. Now we have the newer designs that we're starting to see, and it's called DL. DL means direct lung. So what that is as soon as you're firing this and as soon as you're inhaling it straight down into your lungs. You're not letting it build on up. So there are different techniques. I've seen people kind of use it a little bit either way, but that's one of those things of you want to take that time and inhale all the way down and see how that feels for you. Now, that's going to kind of happen as far as when you're on those really lower coils, those 0.25s or those 0.5s. Again, I apologize if this sounds confusing. We do have information that you can read and you can let it so you can truly understand. There's only so much that we can get in on each one of these videos here, but getting into that, when you have your 0.25, it's a lot more powerful. It's converting that liquid much hotter. You don't want to use as much nicotine when you're going to those lower ones there. So that kind of talks a little bit about the DL and the MTL, and of course the coils, without boring you with an hour-long video that we have. And like I said, this is the eVic AIO, everybody. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.